And I'm distraught because I care about animals and stuff. And I get there and the lady, no vet there. Mind you, I never saw the vet once. Okay. Then when I got there, no call from the vet, and I get there's no vet. So the girl's there, and she hands me the corpse of this cat, right? Deadpan face. We talked about it earlier about my father, deadpan face. No, I'm sorry the cat died. No, geez, my condolences. Now, I know you can't legislate bedside manners. I know you can't legislate that, but it's a red flag to me. Okay. You're working in veterinary services and you don't say, I'm sorry the cat died. That's part of your job, dude, in my opinion. This lady takes it upon herself to buy a house next to the fucking, to the rescue. Yeah. She's like, I'm going to buy a house and I'm going to fucking watch his ass. So she got some cameras, took him out, she did her old recon stuff, fucking probably night goggles and all, right? And they were suspecting that he was, killing animals and burying them in the yard, da-da-da-da. And then they found him doing it one day in a tractor in the middle of the day, like 3 PM, right off of 101. So right there in daylight. And so so they got it. They knew like he, buried him. They said, we got to go tonight to get him. So they got 8. They went in there, snuck in, crawled in, grabbed 8 dogs out of the hole. There was like 1 left. So there was 9. And they grabbed them all out and they took them and they put them in a freezer and they called the sheriff and said, here's your evidence. Because the sheriff, grew up in the same town in Fortuna, right? So it's all like this, like, good old boys club. Yeah. And I called the Jay Thomas show talking about cats. First I talked about the Grizzly Man, which you guys got to watch that documentary.
Hold on, pause. Do you know who Body Mootin is?
No.
Don't fuck with cats.
Oh my God, I saw that. I hate that show.
That's you.
Wait, no, are you talking about the one that was evil that was on Netflix?
Oh,
did you say Netflix?
Don't fuck with cats.
Yeah, that was on Netflix.
That was on Netflix. That was a horrible, scary documentary.
It was, but the lady that found out who it was her nickname on the internet was Body Mootin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't want to watch it again, but pardon me, I was thinking about that because I was like thinking about this whole thing. How it ties
when
in.
you were talking about the whole shit, it kind of reminded me of that documentary.
Body Mootin?
Well, don't fuck with cats.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
okay.
The internet sleuths that found out who that person was just by going through his social media.
Welcome back to another episode of Ill Eagle Culture Branch Red Tape Talk. I'm your host, John Ostos, a.k.a. Ill Eagle CEO, and I'm here with my 2 counterparts, Dion, 2 Cup Larry, and Cody Big Meat Mauk. What's going on, fellas?
What's up?
Not a whole lot. We do, however, have another special guest on this week. Today we have Annie B., who is a fellow, quote-unquote, conspiracy theorist, animal rights activist, and resident of many places, and we're here to kind of talk and dive into some of that stuff. We've had a lot of discussions. I think the way we came to know each other, Annie, first of all, welcome to the show. But the way we came to know each other is via this podcast, I think, and some online dialogue that you and I have had. And you've been uncovering a lot of interesting things happening in the world of animals, which is one of your big loves on the local level and beyond. So we're going to have some discussion about some of that stuff. And if we get the opportunity, I'd like to pick your brain on some other things too, because you've chimed in on some of our past episodes online to me. And I think that we could have some fun topics of discussion elsewhere as well. So welcome to the show and thanks for being here with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Awesome. So let's start with a little bit of some background. Who is Annie B. and where are you from originally?
Well, I am born and raised on the West Coast in the Pacific Northwest my whole life, and then I moved out here part of the time. I have a couple different places that I bounce between, but I moved out here, I think, it's going on almost, 5 years. So I moved to the area about 5 years ago. First time in the Midwest. It's a culture shock for me.
What brought you to the Midwest? The
West Coast, it's like, I feel like
post-COVID.
Yeah. So connect the dots on that one, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like I feel like Goldilocks, too hot, too cold, but then like a little blue has a little bit of, pros and cons, a little bit of red has some pros and cons. So why not bounce between both of them?
Nice.
I don't know.
Did you research at all, or did you just throw a dartboard on a map?
Fuck yeah, I did.
Really?
I mean, not literally throwing a dartboard, but a lot of the freedom fighters were going to Florida and Arizona and Texas.
Yeah.
Those are the three. And
and now Tennessee.
Oh yeah, you're right, Tennessee. At the time though, I felt like those were the three main states because I was really involved in that. And then I always felt like that could be like a trap. Like they're going to get them all in there and then do something, right? You know? And so plus I couldn't afford it, you know, anyways. So I was just looking around and I was like kind of like slowly creeping my way from like Idaho, Wyoming. And it's, you know, it's all like in Montana, it's all super expensive. And this was literally the closest I could get to the West Coast. That's the reason why. Mm-hmm. So it's here, South Dakota.
How long did it take you to get here?
Like as far as like driving?
Well, I mean, because you said you were bouncing, right? On your way from West Coast to here?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like originally, like when I first kind of like did the whole like
migrated?
When I first migrated.
Are you a gypsy?
I'm a gypsy.
So do you have a caravan?
I'd like to have a caravan. I think they're super cool. You can deck them out. Like, dude, they have Airbnb caravans. They're super cool looking.
Yeah. There's a guy that hangs out outside of here pretty regularly that has one. And
oh, really?
Yeah. I think he's totally what you're looking for.
I got some issues with the hippie movement though too though. So, like I said, get me along with like too many people for too long and I get annoyed with them. Yeah. You know, it doesn't matter the demographic. But you know, I mean it took a few days like, you know, coming out here as far as to answer your question. Like
you made the decision pretty quickly, I think is what he was kind of more getting at, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean there wasn't really a lot of time for certain reasons, you know, and so I remember I flew out here so we come from a different, you know, totally different culture, but just different weather too. So I flew out here in November of 2021. And for us still on the West Coast, as you, John, will know, it's still kind of fall, right? And I flew into Minneapolis because I didn't know. It was cheaper. And I get there, they're like, oh, it's the first snowstorm. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, you know, like Mount Hood, like whatever, you know, we have that. I can do that. It's fine. I get, and I'm driving on 94. And all of a sudden, like, you know, it took like maybe an hour into the drive. And there's like a dead deer on the road. It's like wind. I'm praying to dear life, calling my friend like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking die, dude. And I get to the hotel here in town and all the locals had stayed an extra night. Looking back on that, I knew it was a pretty bad storm because the fact that all the locals stayed an extra night in the hotel shows that it was. And I only had about 4 days to look for some property. 4 days, and it's the middle of like, you know, this big snowstorm in 2021. So but I did it. I drove all over North Dakota. But my first house that I found, which is, you know, relatively close by here, was the house I ended up going with. I just felt the energy to it, and it's a good little house. It was built by second generation. Like it was literally hand built by the person that they passed away, but the person that I bought it from. Mm-hmm. I just like that, you know. Nice. We don't get that too much on the West Coast.
Sure, for sure. So you're a pretty spiritual person.
I would say, yeah, my mom was really spiritual. She actually, that's why I wanted to bring her up a little bit. As far as like, I wish I could have picked her brain more. Unfortunately, that's one thing. If you have parents, ask them questions now if there's anything. But she had gotten really deep into the occult before she had me, like really deep into it. And there were some things that she experienced. She never really told me exactly what, but it made her run to Christianity. Right?
Was she like a part of something, or is it on her own?
Well, she hung out. She was a very, very beautiful lady. She was into the fine jewelry. She sold fine jewelry, gemstones and whatever. So she hung out with some pretty rich boys, and we had it in the West Hills and stuff. And you know, they connect the dots. Wealthy people get into some funky shit, you know. And so I don't know who it was or what have you. I remember she did tell me she went to a raw meat party and she hung out with some warlocks. And I thought she was crazy. And no, for real. I'm not joking.
That's wild.
And so then, but it was a raw meat party. And now I'm kind of rethinking that whole raw meat party, right?
Yeah.
I don't think she would have told me
what it means.
What that meant.
Yeah.
But when she got pregnant with me, she became a born again Christian. Like she had a vision about me bringing me from the other side and all. She was actually highly psychic. And seriously, like full on. And so, yeah. And then she was like an eclectic Christian because she had these occult roots So she would like, and I wanted her to still explore that as a kid because it was like she had this gift of like, like beyond intuition. So unfortunately, she felt very conflicted about that. And so I grew up with kind of like that conflicted part, of feeling guilty.
Like she didn't want to believe what she was seeing.
That and tarot cards she felt bad about, even though like I have tarot, but I don't really use them. I'm not really called to them. But she just, because of like the doctrine of Christianity, she kind of came from more of like a Baptist perspective. She never really picked a sect. We didn't really find a church to go to. But she was just a very deep thinker. She was, an animal lover, and even of people. She would take in stray people sometimes. Like there'd be a person I remember. She was like, I hung out with a lot of kids that were, inner city kids, didn't have parents. And, there was one time where like in our hallway, there was a guy sleeping one morning. I'm like, Mom, who is that? Oh, so-and-so, they didn't have a place to stay. So, we would drink our 40s, do their thing. No, like actually she let us do whatever. Like we were like little hood rats, but we had hood rats with a splash of spirituality. Big time. Like, everybody knew to come to our, I was almost slipping my name. Like everyone just knew to come to our house. I mean, there's some things I'm going to plead the fifth on, so I'm not going to say everything else, but, but there was this like really like that thread through our lives of deep spirituality and reverence for life,
Yeah.
Do you know who your dad is?
No. Where's he at? I don't know where my dad's at.
He gone. So you never met him, essentially?
No, I met my dad. Actually, I didn't meet him, though, until I was in second grade.
Okay.
So my mom did get full custody of that, and but I didn't meet him until second grade. And then, but he ties in actually to this down the road he got me started. He was very big into like festivals, like hippie festivals. He would do security and all this stuff. And so he did, like the Oregon Country Fair, which is a big thing. Later we'll talk about it, but Reggae on the River, which is a really big thing that, it's probably one of the biggest reggae festivals. So I would go backstage and, it was fun. He exposed me to some cool shit, but that's the most of our relationship,
Yeah.
Very different. Like North Dakota families, I like it that John comes from the West Coast because I think he can kind of get down with a little bit what I'm saying. Most people would be like at the parenting or just kind of the upbringing that I had is like jaw dropping. Like what?
100%. I
Right?
could not
You know
connect
that.
at all.
I mean,
Yeah, it's very
okay.
different.
It's just,
I didn't do that. I didn't say that for sure. No. So,
and I'm leaving out stuff, by the way.
Yeah,
too,
I'm
you know
sure.
what I'm saying?
I can imagine.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
pretty. So is your dad around still or no?
Yeah. He's around.
Okay.
Still on the West Coast, I'm assuming.
Yeah. He's still on the West Coast.
Okay. You guys communicate?
A little bit, on and off, So I got some daddy issues. I've tried to process most of it. But, there's a reason why I gravitate towards cats.
So did your mom kept you away from him? Like
Up until second grade.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it because of stuff that he did or?
Yeah. Well, actually, which is interesting is that the courts, to my knowledge, deemed him it's funny, I didn't know I was going to do all this, but that's cool. Like, what's up, folks? Deemed him like a sociopath. Like, I don't know if she was just mad at him and she just told me that. Like, yeah, dad's a sociopath. But like a benign sociopath, which that sounds like an oxymoron, but that's what like I grew up. I mean, he's kind of like that, or he's like severely autistic and just lacks some sort of like thing in there,
Emotional empathy.
Yeah, I mean, I know dudes are different when it comes to emotions and empathy, but he really like lacks something.
Well, I mean, there's females that are in the public eye right now that probably have a little bit of sociopath, psychopath tendencies. So I see that.
Who?
Erica Kirk.
Well,
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like,
No, I agree with you.
that is
Totally.
that is a thing. Like when you see that, you see it on a person's face
100%.
where they lack any emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. It's pretty evident.
Yeah.
Pretty evident.
Yeah. And I mean, it's funny because it's like he also did a lot of golf tournaments, like really big. Like he exposed me to this is in your area, down in oh my gosh, what's that place called outside of oh my gosh. Now, I hate that I'm forgetting the name of it. Not Malibu, but it's up. And I'm not trying to name drop, but it was a really cool. Back at the time, I don't drink anymore, so I wasted. But I was at the time I was younger. it's, oh my gosh, Ojai.
Okay.
Ojai, really beautiful place, right? And I, unfortunately, when he took me there, was in 2005. I just like got drunk, and I, like when I used to get drunk, I would, all my insecurities would come out. So I would like talk to these golfers in the bar and be like, do you think I'm pretty? Do you like me? And like he wasn't there. My dad wasn't. But so I had to do some amends with my father for that, because I've done things that I wasn't proud of, and I'll put myself on blast too on, my own shit. But I don't know why I brought that up. Oh, because he had like these, so he's able to kind of, do different things,
Sure.
Yeah.
You can get into different realms.
Yeah. Even being like this, like kind of like sociopathic autistic guy.
Interesting.
So that's me.
Nice. So now let's transition to you mentioned the love for animals, which obviously comes from your mom.
Yeah.
And you've kind of picked up on that. You have a lot of animals right now.
No, well, actually, it started. So what got me? So when I came to North Dakota, I started noticing a lot of feral cats, like a lot, like absurdly a lot in these small communities that I'm in. And where I come from, we have stray people, because we have a lot of
Bums, yeah.
Yeah, totally. And so they would come to my front porch back where I come from, but I just shoo them away or whatever. Sometimes I would give them some food. It was nice.
The cats or the people?
The people.
Okay.
But but with the cats, I do the same thing. I give them food.
Yeah.
I give them a bed. I don't give they didn't give the other. Well, no, one guy actually slept on my couch, actually, and almost burnt it down. Like, whatever. Anyways, I digress. But so I started to see a need here in North Dakota. Like, it was like, dang, I didn't know it was this bad. Started hearing from people how people drop off their animals. I heard like one person they had South Dakota license plates, dropped off a couple of dogs and a couple cats. One of the cats came to my backyard, and I took care of him. But I was like, really? Like, this is happening? They're like, oh yeah, it happens all the time. And like, people in farms, like, they just drop off animals. And now looking back on that, that's nothing compared to what I've discovered. But it horrified me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we need some help. Like, we need to do something about this, North Dakota. So to answer your question, I've had some. I did recently. Wahpeton's awesome with their vet. They started to do a trap and release program. So I bought some traps out with my own money, and I actually got 2 females fixed, which I'm really happy and proud of, just a couple months ago through Wahpeton Vet, which is awesome. I want to give a shout out to them, because I think that's great. We need to have more of that.
Sure.
I'll volunteer, So I'm open. I told them that, they can use my traps if they'd like, or I can help. I'd like to get more into that, because I think that's a big issue. So that's what I have. And then
you don't have any dogs?
No, I did have dogs. I had 2 dogs. My mom, when she was alive, we had a couple, but we treated them a lot like cats.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know. Like, they just kind of do what they want.
I don't want to say on camera. No. I mean, no, because we're never. But it's just no. I mean, they had love. They were good, but
you just don't. Yeah, you kind of let them just do their thing, though.
Yeah, I let them do their thing.
I was gonna say, I don't treat my cat like a king by any means. Yeah. I treat my dog like he's my son, if anything. So. Exactly.
It's just Anyways, but yeah, we had 2 dogs, Hank and Ginger.
Okay.
And back in the day, you don't see it quite as much, but my first dog, they're both like strays, and one was out of ice cream store. It was a puppy's, Ginger, and then Hank came. Like, I came home one day, my mom has this dog, and I'm like, what? Because we lived off of a very big intersection where it's kind of like, my mom always called it Jerusalem or Nazareth, whatever, like where the crossroads were. Mm-hmm. Actually, crossroads, you know what that means. But anyways, so this guy gave her, I'm like, this guy give you a dog, Mom? She's like, yeah, this guy came and he brought some dog food. And he was a great dog. He was like a mixed lab collie. He was an awesome dog. I loved him. But yeah, so it's been many years. They both passed away. So, but yeah, we've had dogs once.
Okay. Wow. Well, then that leads us into kind of the meat and potatoes of at least one of the topics that we want to talk about here. And I know you told me you had taken in a stray. I believe you even got it fixed.
I did.
And you came across this veterinary place in town.
Well, yeah, I had gone, in these rural communities, there's not really a lot of veterinary services typically, you have to drive. And so I had gone with somebody in town. They had taken me to Cheyenne Valley Veterinary Services in Milner, North Dakota, because they had some cats there, kittens that they were getting worked on. And so I knew about the place. Beautiful place. Like, seriously, it's really, really gorgeous building. And so I had the cat that I was telling you before that got dropped off by South Dakota people. I got him fixed there because, that's my biggest thing. It's like, if you're going to stick around the house, you got to be fixed, homie, because my mom didn't, and we had 30 cats.
Kittens.
Yeah. Because it can happen so fast for people, you know what I mean? Just like that. So I got him fixed. It was fine. I mean, it was a little bit weird. Like, when I got him fixed there, they said they could do, mind you, my cousin's a vet for 21 years, so I can always use her as a reference point, which I have throughout different things. But they gassed him or something like that, to put him under, but it was a quick 15, 20-minute neutering surgery. But it worked fine. He was fine. He lived and survived, because neutering typically is very, easy. It's nobody dies from neutering typically. Yeah. So I had one experience and it was fine going there. There was another kitty cat at the gas station who was meowing tons, little orange cat. And it was probably maybe 6 months down the road or something. And I went inside the gas station and I got him some chicken or something because he was just hungry, dude. He was screaming, feed my ass, So I got him some food and he got in. And then there was this guy there that was from out of state. And he happened to be there, and I felt so bad for this cat just because he just had I don't know, personality to him. He was just talking so much, Most cats don't talk like that. And I said, dude, I'm gonna help this cat, And this guy's well, I'll help you put him in the car. And I was like, okay, it's only a couple blocks from my house. So he gets the cat and he puts him in the car, and the cat literally within 1 second flies to the top of the roof, the back, flies all around. I'm holding my face down oh shit, we got a wild creature in my car now.
Oh, no.
Oh no. And then it somehow all it goes, because the door's shut, he's kind of looking as this thing's bouncing around, and it goes underneath the gas pedal, right? Underneath, because it hides underneath there. I'm great, really, out of all the places you're going to hide underneath there. So I'm okay, well, luckily I only got 3 blocks to get home. But I think I can pull this off. I can go down this little alleyway to the home, back to my house. So I did. Because he's underneath it, and I got to be careful. I don't always to break the gas, whatever. It was not the best situation going on. But we did it. And got out. I had a couple of photos I took because I just thought it was so cute. He's this wild creature. So it gets out, he kicks it at my house for a few days. I had another kitty, because that's my whole mission, is to get cats fixed, right? So I had another cat that was one of the stray cats or feral cats. So I was had her scheduled to go into this place, Cheyenne Valley Veterinary Services. And so I was I think maybe I'll get this boy. He's cool. He's trying to come in, I'm going to get him fixed too. Let's just do this, because that's my thing to the world. That's all I can, for right now, give back. And they were moderately priced, really, really good deals compared. People actually go to Fargo or from Fargo to there because their prices are so low. So I did. I had it scheduled, and I got both of them in. Bring them in that morning, 8:00 in the morning. Drive it there. It's about 30-minute drive. He was really, really scared though. He did that thing in the car. He did it in the carrier. And I wish I just kind of trusted that they would understand that. This is a wild creature, And I let them know, does he have a microchip? Can you check for it? Let him, it's whatever. It's not, fully domesticated, but he was cool though. He freaked out, but other than if you didn't put him in a confined thing, he was kicking out at my house for a while, just even inside, he was a very friendly cat. So then, what was I going to say? So then I drop him off at 8 in the morning, both of them. I get a call dude, what time was it at? Not even a couple hours later, maybe around 10 or 11, and it wasn't from the vet. It was from whoever. Somebody works there, and they're oh, the cat passed away. And I'm what? And they're yeah, the boy, whatever, Jupiter. His name
unknown caller.
I'm what? And my heart's sinking. They're well, you didn't, because I didn't get any blood work done. It's $100 or something like that. And they're you didn't get any blood work done. It could have been the heart. And I'm oh my gosh, I didn't know. Okay. And then I said, well, how's the girl doing? They're hold on. I'm no, hell no. They come back. No, she's fine. I said, okay, I'm coming ASAP as soon as I can be there to pick up the girl cat. So I get there And I'm distraught because I care about animals and stuff. And I get there and the lady, no vet there. Mind you, I never saw the vet once. Okay. Then when I got there, no call from the vet, and I get there, there's no vet. So the girl's there, and she hands me the corpse of this cat, right? Deadpan face. We talked about it earlier about my father, deadpan face. No, I'm sorry the cat died. No, geez, my condolences. Now, I know you can't legislate bedside manners. I know you can't legislate that, but it's a red flag to me. Okay, you're working in veterinary services and you don't say, I'm sorry the cat died. That's part of your job, dude, in my opinion. You shouldn't be working there if you can't say, I'm sorry the cat died.
Sure.
So I'm still like, oh my God. So red flag goes off. Then I pay for the other cat that's alive, And I go out to the parking lot. No, turn around because, I got attitude when I'm going to have attitude. And I said, I cannot believe that you did not even acknowledge that the cat died. And I said, and where's the vet? I want to talk to her right now. And she's like, oh, she's out doing whatever. And I said, have her call me. So that was like, once I get my thing going, if you guys can tell, I'm going to go. So I sit in the parking lot and I'm like, this doesn't feel right to me. So I was like, I called some vet. I'm like, what do you do? Like, do you guys do autopsies? Like, it just doesn't sit right. It's a fucking neutering. They're like, yeah, it's called a necropopsy or whatever. So you go to NDSU for that. So I call NDSU. I said, can I come up real quick ASAP? I mean, I'll pay for this. They're like, yeah. So I bring the cat up to NDSU.
Jeez.
Okay. And so they do their thing, whatever. Meanwhile, the vet calls me not till the next day, right? So now we're on like 24 hours or whatever. And she's like, I'm so sorry, whatever, running her mouth and stuff. And I was like, she's like, oh, like you're going to that. She's like, she was like, oh, I'll pay for it. And I'll pay for that. You want to get it cremated? Sure, I'll pay for that. So I was like, okay, you can pay for the cremation. And I almost was like agreed to have her pay for the whole necropopsy. But then I was like, I don't know, dude, because like that will give her access to, like I hadn't pulled her records yet. Exactly. And if you can cross-reference, right? So I didn't pull the records yet from the cat from at the vet office. And so I was like, wait, if I don't pull those records from her and I give her that autopsy, she can, make it look whatever she wants. I'm not saying she did. I'm just saying it's a possibility. So, and it's a couple $100, and I would have liked to have that paid for, but at the same time, whatever I wanted. So I was like, actually, it was maybe even a little bit more. But I also, just to backtrack, that night after I dropped the cat off at NDSU, I went online because I'm an investigator. I'm a full-on, especially if you piss me off. And I started Googling her name. And all of a sudden, these minutes pop up from the Board of Veterinary Examining Board here in North Dakota. And what? There's minutes of her having a complaint of having her issues with having, unlicensed people do things that are not supposed to be,
done by them,
yeah. Right? And I was like, so I talked to the person. I got the name, I'm good like that. Like, give me the 411. So I heard the story about that, like just whatever, just crazy. I mean, and then I look again, and then I found out 2 years later, she does the similar thing with basically without license and having unlicensed people do it. And now she's on a 5-year probation. Her license is 5 years now. Not during that time, that's when this happened. So I was like, what?
This is the Cheyenne Clinic.
Yeah, this is the Cheyenne Clinic in Milner. So I was like, dude, this is insane. So, and like the person like I was talking to that had already had issues with this place, they're like, no, like they were looking at all my records and they were like, yeah, like this is crazy. Like, and like just like the dosages and just like, at like aftercare, there was like no paperwork, even though she claims there was, and what have you. So when I talked to my cousin, who's a vet for 21 years, she's never lost a cat or any animal to a neutering. Spaying's more, can be more intricate. But I said, yeah, like that's like they said that, I didn't get blood work, so it could have been the heart. And she goes, well, that's really weird. She's like, blood work only has to do with liver and kidneys. She's like, why would they say that? That doesn't even make any sense. Well, come to find out, because the person that called me has no formal medical training. And on Facebook, she has false advertisement. She calls them veterinary technicians. And that's where you get your formal training. Mm-hmm. They're veterinary assistants, which means like you can just be like, a barn girl.
A tech, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so I put that to the board as well. And the board didn't care. So at the end of the day, like the board pretty much brushed off everything I said. I threw in some really, it's called calendrics, which is like the space of time, you know, between dates. And if you're high up in the system, people use that all the time. And there was a really interesting thing because the day that the cat died to the day that they had this meeting was the opposite date. And I shared that with them. This Pearls Before Swine, though, because they laughed at me. What's her name? What's it called? Sarah Lyons or whatever her name is. She's the pencil pusher for the board. And she was like, I couldn't believe she did it because this is so disrespectful. Like, I don't have to be professional. I'm the public. I mean, that'd be nice if I am. We can get business done better, but I don't have to be professional. They do, on the other hand. Okay? They're representing the board. And she said, like they brought my name up in the case and they're like, oh, the numbers, like something about numbers or whatever. And she's like, that's for the meeting after the meeting. And then Matt Mange, who's Attorney General for North Dakota, he's like, And I'm like, seriously, you guys are going to laugh about that? And obviously, Matt hasn't been tapped on the shoulder yet because that's not funny shit. I gave you real deep stuff right there. Shouldn't have done that. That's why the profane's the profane. So that just made it even more for me, you know, to totally disrespect me like that because it was a Zoom meeting, you know. And I was like, dude, it's like a circle jerk, dude. Like, I felt like regulations are only like really just to kind of protect the industry, just to keep it going, you know? Because like these are their licensees, you know? I mean, to me, like false advertisement, like this wouldn't fly for 2 seconds where I come from, I think. But then, you know, we have this whole case in California where it's like, who knows? But I just was like, this is insane to me. Like, so what, I can go around calling myself like a vet tech? Be like, hey, I'm a vet tech. Hi, guys.
Yeah, I don't play by my dog. I'm gonna be honest. I'd be pissed.
Right?
I'd be super pissed.
Like, you're gonna call yourself a vet tech and like it's like all good?
Yeah. Especially with how much money that you pay to do these things. Like, it's
so
not.
Did these people that said they're vet techs, did they get any college training at all?
No, but they did get a thing up in the Wapaton newspaper though.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, she got caught for like drugs and, you know, stuff around kids and all this shit. Granted, it was years ago. And I mean, I'm cool. We all can be redeemed. I ain't trying to throw shade on somebody that wants to live a good life. But how am I supposed to know? You know, that's the last person I saw the cat with, you know? So it's like, so for me, even outside of this whole situation with that, so then I started looking at things. And so this is something I really do want to bring out. So in North Dakota Century Code, because I dug into stuff. So even though I talked to like the state vet and he was like, you know, they don't like, you know, obviously they brushed off like the metrics of like who is doing like this sort of like grading of like the states because it's skewed, and it very well might be, but still at the end of the day, like North Dakota ranks number 50 for animal welfare. 50 in the United States. You think I thought somewhere maybe in the South or something like that, but no, like, you know, and so, but check this out. So right now it's called under livestock, Title 36, Chapter 3601, a domestic animal means dog, cat, horse, bovine animal, sheep, goat, bison, farmed elk, llama, alpaca, or swine. So basically your dog or your cat is in the same category as farmed elk. I'm sorry, like I don't think so. But because North Dakota is a big egg state, it always gets shot down when it goes through like any sort of like animal welfare rights stuff, you know, because, you know, big egg rules North Dakota. And I get their worries. I've seen what they're doing on the West Coast, especially in Oregon. You know, they'll take an owl and like, you know, grab your land in a heartbeat or grab your water rights.
Correct.
So yeah. I get their concerns and they should be, but we got to balance that shit out.
Yeah.
For real. Because it's like, I feel like, once again, it's like from one extreme to the next where I come from. Because what? Like this stuff? Like seriously? It's like, oh, okay, well, sorry, like, you know, this happened. Oh, well, because like I feel like the lens that people look through are this lens. Like that's a barn cat. That's a pasture dog. You know, it's like ingrained in them generation after generation. You know, maybe in Fargo in these cities, the city folks have a different view of animals. I'm sure some country folks are going to be watching this and be like, that's not true. I love my boy. You know, okay, I get it. You love your boy, but you got to stand up for this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but then it's funny because like, like the Practice Act, which is like what the board represents, right? Because they have their own little rules that, you know, these licensees have to go by. You know, they determine animal as a means of a member of the animal kingdom other than a human being, whether living or dead. So there's a little like difference. I think that should be more congruent. Like the Century Code should match the Practice Act within, you know, that governing body. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And then it just made me like, I guess, think about through this process and not saying like, them in particular, but just in general, because I'm a thinker. I was like, wow, innocence really like attracts either good or evil people. Like straight up, like good or evil people. I mean, I get some people in between that just want a job. But think about daycares, right? You know, fucking coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like people want to creep next to what they want to like get their little hands on.
Somebody just posted something yesterday that happened in Dickinson. They locked a 7-month-old girl in a room with like 3 other 2 to 3-year-olds, and the 7th month got multiple bites on her back, like scarred bites.
At daycare?
Yeah,
it
was at a daycare. But yeah, her back was just like riddled with big bites, like
somebody's
nasty.
Getting beat up.
That's what I said. There
Somebody's
would be
getting
a
beat up.
fucking hole that you could hide in where I wouldn't find you.
Guarantee it.
But who regulates that though here? I mean, North Dakota is like the 1800s. People have said that to me. It's like literally going back in time. It can be a double-edged sword. Some ways
honestly, it takes somebody with a big voice to raise that type of problem.
Because that's so nobody was supervising. Like they literally threw the kid in there with like nobody there. But
that was my understanding, and it's being reviewed right now. Obviously, the parents are probably going to sue, and
yeah. But see, a lot of times then they settle out of court, and then it dies down, and then the next shit happens like 6 months later.
Look at I'm not sure if you're familiar with like Nicole and Robert.
Well, that's why I found you guys actually. I followed
right. So you see, she's kind of the same way. She's just like, she won't take no for an answer. She's gonna be heard, right?
Yeah.
And now look, she's being heard from across the state.
Yeah.
So that is the type of people that you need to have that want to push real honest change.
It's true. You're right.
You have to be willing to take all of the arrows that you're gonna get.
Yeah.
She takes a lot of arrows. If you look at her page, she takes a lot of arrows.
I take a lot of arrows too, actually.
But you're more secluded, or not secluded, reclusive.
Yeah.
Not so
you're right.
Public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, they came to town a couple days ago.
Did they?
Maybe it was Monday or Tuesday, and they stopped by the restaurant to try some food, which she said it was fucking amazing, by the way. But they stopped by to just kind of tell me that they were in town because they're working on having another baby.
Yep.
So they had a doctor's appointment where she was doing
IVF.
some IVF meetings and stuff like that, and then someone ripped her apart on social media over that, which was really shitty. But
they've got a GoFundMe
another story
on online, obviously, and so people were like, "Oh, she's gonna not use this money to actually do this."
Right.
And
they accused her of saying that she had a full hysterectomy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden she's using her platform to get money to raise for a fake attempt at having a baby, and then would later claim, "Oh, it didn't happen." And
just what a case you build in
people
your head.
are just crazy.
With that being said, go donate to their GoFundMe. You can find it on Facebook attached to her same Facebook.
It's like fucking 20 grand, so 25 grand. So
is it really
crazy expensive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's how my
I mean, her
firstborn
case
was
really
made.
like I remember the day that happened.
My son Roman was born from IVF, and whatever you want to say about science, like if it wasn't for science, we wouldn't have had him. Of course, God intervened and said, "Here's what you need to do," to the people that made this happen. But I think religion and science, there's sometimes can blend, but it is insanely expensive, and it shouldn't be. I think that's one of the things that can be fixed is the cost of IVF.
I know, because if you don't have the money, then that's
it. The only reason why we were able to afford it is because my wife's insurance, they covered our whole IVF experience.
That's rare, right? Or no?
It is unheard of. But Microsoft has an incredible insurance. But the crazy thing is that we had, I'm going to see if I can get this right. So I was a competitive bodybuilder for a long time, and
competitive.
My shit was like shot, right? And so,
really messes it up.
Oh yeah, big time. Like my shit was
when you're bodybuilding like that, or like taking whatever you need to do to get that big. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they had to put me on medication and whatever, did that. But so when they collected her eggs, they were able to get like 4 or something like that. and out of those 4, only one was viable, and it happened to be my son. And, and it happened to be a boy, and I wanted a boy to get it out of the way because I needed a son.
Yeah.
And so it just, man, if you want to say it, the stars align, the stars align. That was like the greatest blessing ever to have.
Was that your first child?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then did you have another child?
Yes, naturally.
So how did that happen? Oh, because you stopped bodybuilding.
15, yeah. Yeah.
You can
15 months later. 15 months later was my daughter, Rhea.
I mean, if they're shooting out, like, okay, then it must have been like,
He's back.
he's not, yeah, he's back.
I was clapping cheeks.
He's back, dude. He's so back.
I got to pee.
He's like, he's got to pee.
Yeah, he's like,
that's funny.
You guys set me up for a couple good ones there, but yeah, no, that's special for sure. I think having a kid is a blessing for sure.
So you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to.
My child's not born yet, and I'm not a bodybuilder like that. No, I just did amateur bodybuilding, if anything. So, but my kid is due here in the next 3 weeks. 4
Oh,
weeks.
really?
Yeah. So this will be my first child.
Congratulations.
Thank you
Do you know?
very much.
Do you know the gender?
Yeah, it's a boy.
Wow.
Like Cody said, I had to have a boy first. So
Yeah.
I feel like as a guy, everybody doesn't want to say it, but it's true. Like something in me wants to live on forever, and I think that's the only way that I can do it.
Right. Yeah, the last name thing.
Yeah, the last name thing was huge actually for me. Honestly, I appreciate my last name. A lot of people around here, especially, they know me for my last name, even though it might not be so good.
Not everybody gets a first name for a last name.
Exactly,
you know?
not everybody. And when people hear that, they know my family. They know the people that I surround myself with. They know these guys. Like that's how we're known, you know. So I don't know. I just appreciate it. So
that's cool. So you must be a local, then born and raised here.
Born and raised here, and then we got family in Texas, and so. But a lot of my family moved out here, and just good people, I guess. I don't know.
That's cool.
It is.
I get that. I mean, and also like just taking it from my little hippies vibe, it's like the energy that your guys are passing along, you know, throughout like, you know, your generations.
Yep.
And, you know.
And I could be so much more mean than I can be to like a girl that I think is my princess of the world. Like,
right.
It's
just you want a girl though too?
I do want a girl eventually, but I just
got to get the boy thing out.
The boy first, because then I can see how I should raise a child, and then what I can cut back on. Like I'll cut back from there and be nicer and be. Everyone's like, you're gonna be so soft as a dad if you have a girl, and I was like, I won't be soft to people outside of my family though. That's the problem. Like my wife and my daughter would get everything, and everybody else would get nothing because I would keep them away, which I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think that's all a good thing. But I feel like having a son first will help me not do that a little bit.
Do you agree, Cody?
I see what he's saying. Yeah. But my daughter is a bear cat. She's got my temper. Roman has my sensitivity.
Yeah.
Rhea's got my temper. Roman has my sensitivity.
So it's different. So it's not like the stereotypical the guy being whatever.
Which sucks because I wish Roman had my aggression and temper. And then
so you can get him doing all the stuff.
But see, the difference is Roman was created with your sensitive sperm that was not able to produce. And Rhea came out when you were shooting like a man, you know?
That good point.
He's doomed. He's doomed.
No, you can have a third child.
Yeah. No, I'm snipped. I'm not.
You did?
Oh my God.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm
scared.
I'm 37 years old and I can barely handle these two.
We can get unsnipped too, though.
You can.
You could
you can.
We know someone who's done that. I don't know if it's worked out yet. But.
Yeah, you get one nut working, I think.
I just like he's like, I don't know if it's worked out yet.
I don't know. I mean, it sounds painful. It sounds not worth it. I don't think I'd do it, but hey.
So tell me about Humboldt County.
Humboldt. Yeah, hold on. Let me just. Is there anything else with North Dakota? Got to put on blast. I don't think there's anything. I already talked about the codes. Okay, I might circle back if there's something I think about because things. Whatever. Anyways, so Humboldt's an interesting place. Did you guys get a chance to like look up any of those YouTube videos I sent? Or John, did you get a chance to look at that?
I'm familiar with Humboldt as well, though. Yeah, from being in California.
So when I think of Humboldt, I think of the hockey team that died.
See, I think of the Emerald Triangle.
The what?
The Emerald Triangle. Humboldt was like when you lived in California, it was the first place, if I'm not mistaken, that legalized or that took advantage of legalizing medical marijuana. And then from there, it became like the epicenter of growing in California. And California was like one of the first places to legalize.
Yep. And like the Emerald Triangle, you have Mendocino, Trinity, and Humboldt. So it's 3 counties that makes up the Emerald Triangle. And, you had camp back in the day that would go over. So California gets marijuana production. So I was around during that time, and you had was it KMUD? I forgot what but they would report it. So I liked the vibe of Humboldt because it was like these hippie outlaws that were like, we're going to do what we're going to do, because it comes from the back to land movement from, there's many different, obviously settlers, throughout time, but the most recent was the back to landers in the 60s from the cities of San Francisco and the big area. And they went to settle there, anti-Vietnam, all that stuff. And they lived off grid and they started growing weed, and they grew the world's best weed, honestly, or what they report it to be. And then they were just very organized, they had, people, like I said, the local radio station letting people know camps over here, guard your stuff or whatever, from what I remember. And my friend went to Humboldt State. Now it's an Arcata. Now it's called something else. But, and then my dad, like I said, was in Reggae on the River, which is down in southern Humboldt. And that's where mostly the grows are. Now the grows, after legalization, things just got changed. I don't know if you see Murder Mountain on Netflix. You guys should check it out. But, the cartels moved in, it's, they're using a lot of pesticides too. That's why I always knew that, because I was like once we got involved in legalization, I was like, I'd rather trust homie on the corner, than, gotta be slinging it.
That's fair.
So it's just a very, kind of there's just, the big lumber industry, with all the redwoods. It's where mainly a lot of the redwoods are. It's very beautiful. Do you know anything else from the area?
That's about it.
That's it?
You covered what I understand about it.
Yeah. And so I always loved the vibe. Like I said, it was at least for me, it was my sort of vibe. And then I recently, I don't even know how it happened, to be honest with you guys. For real. On social media, somehow I saw a post. It's been on the, news. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it was this guy that had, this rescue, and he had murdered all these dogs. And they were saying the official narrative is that he murdered them to then make room for more dogs. So he could get because the weird part is these rescue or these shelters that are ran by the state were giving them up to $1,400 per dog.
Oh God.
But check it out though. So it's called the Hayden Act, right? The Hayden Act got put into place in August of 1998. And this dude, right, who sounds like a sociopath, psychopath, whatever, cluster B, technically DSM-5 is what some might call him. I'm not saying he is because I haven't diagnosed his ass, but he sounds like it. He got started with his business 9 days before it went into effect. Dude, did he get some intel or something? He was Johnny on the spot with that. Right? You got to know how legislation's going down even before it goes down 9 days.
Yep.
Right? So he's right there. He has this dairy farm in Ferndale. Ferndale, everything I just learned, I sent to John. I'm like, dude, this is so weird. Ferndale, that's where, guess what movie was filmed in Ferndale? Salem's Lot. I don't know. I just think that's weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, because it's a creepy ass, story in the creepy ass little town. So, and I was getting hits because I brought it up about well, who's this family, and all the locals are just and I'm getting 15,000 views on my stuff, all these non-followers creeping on me, and they're all don't put them through the mud. I'm I'm asking a question because this dude's this is some horrible stuff, and I'm just asking his origins, what's going on. They gave him the land. I don't know. So that's kind of part of that. I don't know, Humboldt's the highest in missing people county throughout the United States.
That's nuts.
It is nuts.
What's the theory behind that?
Well, a lot of it, they say the trimmers, they don't want to pay, the grows don't want to pay the trimmers. So they started getting into human trafficking up there because when the cartels and stuff moved in, instead of like these old hippie farms that were growing, you know, just kind of, and they can't make as much of a turnoff because it's, you know, it's no longer inflated market, you know, it's deflated. So, you know, price cutting, I guess, is murder, you know, I guess, I don't know. I mean, but it is, you know, and then there was also, was it Tyler Olivia or whatever? He did something that was called the Wendigo. Like it just like it was a quick little excerpt. I can't say that word, in the video. And it was some guy that's kind of seemed a little clucked out, geeked out in the forest, you know, but he's like, there's a Wendigo. And then this other girl, like, yeah, like they're cannibals. And I'm like, you know, whatever. It's like more satire kind of it came across. But then when I started digging in, I don't even want to say the names. I don't know if you saw it. Like they creep me out. Like, I mean, our music industry is satanic. You know, people are like desensitized
That's
to it.
pretty.
We know,
obvious.
yeah, that.
It's hella satanic. But then you get into like, I don't even want to say the names on here because like it freaked me out. But like there's this one, like so what I do as a researcher is I'll go through all the comments on YouTube and see what people are saying about the topic. So for instance, with missing people, I went on YouTube and started looking at what everybody was saying about missing people. And one person said, oh, I'll say it. Should I say it? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. He said teenage disaster. Look up, there's a satanic cult, teenage disaster. And I was like, and I thought I heard that name before, like, because, you know, I've been in the rabbit hole for a while. So I looked him up and he freaked me the fuck out.
Oh.
Like, I mean, I'm talking next level, like scary. Like, it's like, you know, like it's, I feel
That's
the
a
vibe.
person?
Yeah. It's stage name or whatever, right?
Oh, okay.
So I was like, it was just like a horror movie, right? That's what supposedly his dad was a big Rob Zombie fan and like, but then he like signed a had an article with Rolling Stone. So, you know, get some names. Then he like, the guy, I forgot Thorne, his name. Like he like then was a part of a band called Spider Gang. And then you get into that whole group and it's like, then there's a member in Spider Gang called the Wendigo. What? And one guy called MK Ultra. And like, I don't know. I mean, it gets like.
It's a CIA operation.
I believe it is.
Yeah. You can always connect Satanism to Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
The trail is always
but
there.
it's like, this is a trippy part for me. Is like, and I don't know if you guys can relate. So I like read David Icke, right? Or I'll watch, you know, stuff on YouTube, right? And geek out on that. I have for 6 years now, right? But to see this firsthand, and I remember David Icke had said, you know, that Satanism and criminal syndicates go hand in hand. Right? Like human trafficking. And I was like, and then I told you, because I was like, always wondered why the cartels were so crazy when they kill people, like psycho, right? Yeah. Like whatever. But like then gangs in LA, they just shoot each other. And then it all hit me just like oh, because it's Satanism at the end of the day, because they're sadists and they have to, you know, produce as much torture and violence and, you know, because that's part of the whole thing. So that being said, you know, yeah, CIA op, you know, I was like, oh my God. But like to me, I could feel the energy close to me, right? Like, and I'm coming at it from an angle that most people aren't. A lot of the bleeding hearts that are animal welfare advocates by the official narrative. So then then we can go into this. So then I was like, is this whole thing a fucking op? Like, is this whole motherfucking thing an op? Okay. And if it is an op, there has to be an outcome, right? Because that's how ops work. Like you have, you know what I mean? So let's just say hypothetically. So, you know, not smearing even the government. I'm just posing questions like Socratically, right? So let's just say, because for me it's a red flag that he started his business, his LLC, on August 17th, 1998, and the Hayden Act goes into effect 9 days later, or starts the process, assembly floor, and then, you know, eventually within like a month it becomes official. That's when the private-public partnership happened. That's what it was. The Hayden Act basically was taking shelters and saying no kill. We're not going to kill these kitties and these doggies, and we're going to give them to the rescues. But the Hayden Act says in California that they can charge a fee to the rescue, or, you know, so the rescue has to pay. Why is the money going backwards? Why on paper are all these rescues paying money to this the name is Miranda's Rescue? Why are they paying money up to $1,400 per dog? That doesn't even say it outlined in the Hayden Act. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make sense. So the bleeding hearts are like, you know, all of these we're talking Palm Springs, Stockton. And I had a feeling about Stockton because I am psychic like my mom. I have moments of it. And I even posted it a few weeks ago, and now I'm seeing some connections more so there. But, and Sacramento has a really, really good advocate program with their shelter called Fix Front Street, because I think it's called Front Street, and that was there. And their director there had many issues. Their director, Philip Zimmerman, you know, they had an audit done. He was doing some of the similar things that Shannon Miranda was doing as far as like lack of transparency, because Shannon Miranda's rescue, there's no pictures of adoptions. There's no, like, if you're, any of the stuff, right? Like, what are you doing? Where's the vet? So so these shelters might claim, oh, we're giving them because, we can't handle, like, we don't want to kill them, but it has medical issues. Well, then what's your metrics for gauging like medical care? And if you're outsourcing to a third party, how are you doing your due diligence by following up? That's important to do. And those are our tax dollars. You know what I'm saying? So it sounds like it's just wrapped up like they normally do with stuff. They wrap it up in a love language and say, because it's the law of reversal. So it's like, oh yeah, we're going to like save the fucking animals. No, it really means we're going to fucking murder all the animals and go fucking trafficking. Have fun, guys. Watch your torture film. Meanwhile, Trump just signed the Crush Act, making it thing. So I'm curious on what's going to happen.
With a felony for animal
7
abuse.
years. Yeah. And they're bringing that up. So the FBI came in. Now, granted, being a conspiracy theorist, I'm not jumping up and down for these boys, but like,
the feds.
Yeah. I mean, but I hope, I don't know. Are you guys white hats? I want to have some white hat, believe in some white hats. Do you guys believe in white hats? No. I know. I want white hats, but then I also want to believe in Santa. You know what white hats
He doesn't know what that means.
Okay. No, I don't.
You do?
Mm-mm.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Yeah,
like
you
the good
do.
guys.
Yes, you do.
I do know.
You want to believe that some of them are good guys?
That's what white hats.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It comes from like, I never was a Q
I don't
person.
believe in it.
Yeah, white hats like,
QAnon shit
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
and I never was a Q person, but I follow narratives because I'm
Yeah.
a social engineer in my own way because it's important to know narratives. But so yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, it's very important. I actually find it very interesting.
Yeah.
to be honest.
I think that there was a point in time where we were a believer.
100%.
There was some good out there, but at least at that level. That
Right,
level.
right.
But nah.
So then what are your thoughts then? So like, because you're military and whatever, what are your guys' thoughts on? So this is my thing. So you have this whole situation, right? You got some discrepancies on the money flow. You got the timing of the, and like the fact that like they wrote this like absurdly, like it's like an imbecile wrote this. Like, are you kidding me? Like there's no provisions or any sort of like, it's like.
So this has been going on since 1990.
Yeah, Hayden Act. And so, because they made it like deliberate. Like North Dakota's probably already like this because it's 1800s here. But you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't even look at their codes.
So there could potentially be fucking like millions of animals that were killed.
Yeah. Oh, millions. Oh,
Yeah.
hands down. This is just one rescue, dude. And this is just one state. But the fact that California deliberately put it into effective law, right? Like, like made it like this way because they didn't have to, but they made it like they outsourced it. And like, how the military works when they outsource to Lockheed Martin.
Yeah.
Come on. We already know what happens when you outsource, right?
Yep.
It's just the way it goes. So I can't just like not throw shade their way. Everybody else is like, they're so small-minded. Like, arrest Shannon Miranda. No, sure, no shit, dumbass. Mind you, like, it gets more drama if you guys saw, like, his like boyfriend or husband's like a porn star and like, all this crazy shit, drinking his own piss and I don't know, whatever. At least that's what's on the internet. Yeah, you didn't see all that? Fucking crazy
This
shit.
is the rescue.
The rescue dude.
The old guy.
The oldish. His 50s.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
the other guys,
yeah.
they're bodybuilders,
But they drink piss.
Well, when you Google it,
bodybuilders.
Oh, breast milk.
Breast milk.
That's different.
Extra.
And actually, to be honest with you, I'll do a little plug for health. Like in ancient times in India, they in yoga circles, they drink their own urine. It's called the golden elixir. Now, if you do it for health,
Yeah, Australia is real big on that.
yeah, and if you do it for health reasons, not like a fucking perv golden shower, but if you do it for health reasons and put it on your skin because it actually has a lot of stem cells in it. Now, I don't think this guy's doing it for stem cells.
No, it's for stem cells, guys. I swear to God.
I know. I'm giving him some excuses. Hey, attorney, it's for stem cells. I'm part of that. And I gotta watch what I say, but so like, because I was like, because it just gets weirder and weirder. Like the whole porn thing. I was like, what? Like this is like what? And then that's when my mind got into like, dude, are they doing some other shit? Like, because like what happened was, so the official narrative, right? And I bought it until I talked to John. Like, I'm so grateful that I would have caught it anyway because I'm a critical thinker, but I didn't know. You know what I mean? So like the first narrative was like, okay, so we already kind of got the thing of this dude and what he's doing. So people have like, rumors have gone around. Just like rumors have gone around with Cheyenne Valley. People have talked about after I broke it out, like, oh yeah, right? Because that's the way that's how it goes. So this lady takes it upon herself to buy a house next to the fucking to the rescue.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna buy a house and I'm gonna fucking watch his ass. So she got some cameras, took him out, she did her whole recon stuff, fucking probably night goggles and all, right? And they were suspecting that he was, killing animals and burying them in the yard and da-da-da-da. And then they found him doing it one day in a tractor in the middle of the day, like 3 p.m, right off of 101. So right there in daylight. And so so they got it. They knew like he, buried him. They said, we got to go tonight to get him. So they got 8. They went in there, snuck in, crawled in, grabbed 8 dogs out of the hole. There was like 1 left. So there was 9. And they grabbed them all out and they took them and they put him in a freezer and they called the sheriff and said, here's your evidence. Because the sheriff, grew up in the same town in Fortuna, right? So it's all like this, like, good old boys club. Yeah. And then when he did the interview for like the press release, the sheriff, he called him by first name. He didn't call him by like, the suspect or Mr. Miranda. Yeah. He's like, oh, Shannon. Like what the fuck is going on here? Like, I don't know. And like, there've been complaints for so long, many years. You said like this went on for 30 years. Imagine like there people have been saying stuff like, hey, I think dogs are, and like also, I mean, the shelters are not, off the thing either. Like they needed to do their metrics on like, where are these dogs going? Because I think he could only have like 60 dogs per at a time. And even like when this whole thing happened, he was over the max, like 60. Like, so they didn't even do like, what's it called? Like, you have to have like because he was working in the gray area. Because that's what they wanted, the whole thing. So, but there was still some things that, could have been regulated. Like, was it like a lease on the land as far as like, like the kennels, like, like that sort of thing. Because he was over capacity. So if someone would have just even done it like once a year or even once every 2 years, they would have seen that things weren't right. And then he was taking the dogs. So so going on with the official narrative is so then, then finally the cops come in or the police like, oh no, okay, we'll help, whatever. And then they come in, they do their thing. This was May 1st, so I didn't even know about the story at this time. And then they come, maybe that time, or I don't know when they exactly did, but they found in the barn where he would shoot them. And then there were 600 collars. So it's like where he would shoot the dogs and he did all these like gross, sarcastic videos, like in 2020, like saying, this is Bullwinkle. I just dug him up from the backyard. 2020, he said this. And saying like it's Bullwinkle. Yeah. And then like really like sarcasm. Now, that's why I bring up Satanism. Satanism is they use mockery a lot. Like that's kind of how they roll. So that's what kind of got me like thinking, is this a little bit of a satanic vibe going on because of such mockery, like hardcore. And then he would then, the official narrative is then he would shoot them in there and then get more. And then other people were saying in these groups, like, oh, he's killed him in the river, like whatever. But then I'm like, my critical thinking comes in and I'm like, dude, it's like a pimp trying to kill his like hose. Like they don't do that because they need to turn more tricks. No, I'm serious. It's commodities, dude. Like you got to think like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like human trafficking, you got to pull more tricks out. One trick doesn't do it. So if you're going to just kill an animal, aside from it, if I have to think very cold-heartedly, that doesn't make sense to me. You got to trick them out, which means the black market. And that's when I started really going on the black market, dude, because I was like, and then when you said, when I mentioned it just, like, oh, it's, what do you call dog fighting? Then it kind of made me start thinking more of like that lines of like black market stuff. And, in the black market, it can go in many different directions. Dog fighting is just one of them. People are sick as fuck, dude.
Mm-hmm. They in California, dog fighting was huge, especially when I was growing up.
So what
in the streets?
Can you tell me about it? Like, what is like the culture? Like, what is this? I mean, like, and then I started thinking about Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, like Atomic Dog.
I don't know. It was something that seemed to happen within the hood. Like it was like a gang thing where they would get dogs and they would train them. I mean, one of the methods was you would chain them as puppies to a brick, so that they would have to haul this around, so they would get really built, and then they'd feed them and put hot sauce in their food that would make them vicious and kind of violent dogs.
The hot sauce would?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It was just something they did. Yeah, I don't know. They would chain them to big bricks or like, concrete blocks and stuff and make them drag those things around. So they were heavy enough that they would build muscle, but they were light enough that they could still kind of move around the yard with them and run with them and stuff. So that's what they would do, just keep them chained to a brick of some sort that they could run around with, and they would stack them with muscle, and then they would just train them to be fine. But I don't know the theory around the hot sauce. It was just something that they did. I mean, I knew a lot of people that did it back in the day. It was pretty common.
What is it? So just when I Googled it.
It was like rolling dice.
Yeah.
Oh,
in the hood.
It's like something to bet on.
Yeah.
Like
They did the same thing they did with cockfighting. I had uncles that did cockfighting all the time, and it was just, they would do it right in their front yards. People would bring their roosters over and they'd put money on it, and then they'd throw them in a circle and make them go at it.
So why is it as I'm petting my feathers? Obviously, I'm not a really good animal advocate. I swear nobody died from this. I don't know for sure, but a hippie chick, whatever. Anyways, what did they? So like with cockfighting, like why is it like do they die like in the process? Like why do animal advocates?
Yeah, roosters are killers.
Roosters are
they?
They're sharp talons. Their fingers are like knives. Like they sharpen them too. Like they make the birds are
it's
killers.
It's all a money thing though. It's just people would bet money on it, you know.
I mean, the dogs even would die when they did the dog fighting for sure.
Oh yeah, especially because the majority of dogs they fought were Rottweilers and pit bulls, and they got lockjaw. You know what I mean? And so that was like, they would bet money on how the killing would happen. Yeah.
So this is my thing though. It's like, you know, because I started thinking about blood sports, you know, and I mean, I know dudes, you know, I mean, it's in our culture. It goes back to the Coliseum times or probably, you know, before that. But it's like, you know, like even with like the whole UFC fighting at, you know, it's patriotic, you know, at the White House. And, you know, I was like, people are like, you know, this is more for the animal rights people. It's like, you know, they might get mad about these dog fighting rings, but like yet they're so quick to like go do blood sports when it comes to boxing or, I mean, even football can be pretty bloody, but it's like, it's just, I don't know what it is about human nature that has to, and I'm just not like that. I bet a lot of people are wired that way. I don't know if it's just to get their kind of like animal out of their own.
Well, like humans are animalistic.
I know. I'm starting to see that. I've been off in my own little world floating around. I mean, I got my own animal. Like, I get really angry, so I get my, I mean,
but that's just how we evolved into, which if you think about where we're going, I think that we're going to evolve into something else that sort of aggression is not needed.
Yeah.
I hope
I
so.
think we've devolved from our aggressions. If you look at history, I mean, we were always warriors, fighters. We killed without regard, you know, like all the way into, you know, from ancient history, then to cowboys, you know, shootouts and,
the
you know,
Vikings.
like, I mean, Vikings, like it was always a human instinct to be barbaric, so to speak.
Yeah, barbaric.
So I think we're devolving from those methods because, I mean, we have more pussified men ever in society today than.
But now I'm cheering for that, you guys. Don't hate me. I'm like, yes, bring the they them.
But we see we're losing we're losing to that though. That's the problem. It's like I have no issues with the coexistence of it. I have an issue with them trying to make it the mainstay of society. Like we can't. You need men. You need strong, powerful, capable men in the world because there will always be somebody at the top who maintains power. Yeah. And if they become the most powerful and all of us become the weak, soft, you know, gentle humans, we now live in, you know, in a society where we have rulers.
Well, it's true.
As opposed to other warriors.
Well, because like if women ruled, we would not even have any buildings built.
Oh, for sure. No, for sure.
Let's be honest. Like, I mean, women like the feminists are like, we need. I'm like, dude, we would not have anything. We would be literally.
You would probably starve too.
Yeah, we probably.
Women can cook. Don't get me wrong, but who brings the food?
I get it.
You know what I mean? So like, there's a lot of things like that. But in the same breath, you know, men without women, we'd have all kinds of, you know, ailments and things that we're incapable of as well. So there is a need. We complement each other when we do things by the natural ordinance that God created us to do them by.
I agree with you.
You know what I mean? So I don't have issues with all the sexuality stuff and all that until you try to make it be the thing.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, okay, no, like it's fine if that's what you want. And you can have that. That's your right, especially here in America. But you don't have to impose it on everyone else and think that that's equality.
Well, and if we're going to talk about the Rainbow Bright Club, you know.
We talk about like LGBTQI plus.
Well, because so I feel like everything like in rabbit holes, like you find one thing, then you find another thing. So going back to Satanism, which I didn't really even go into, but whatever. But you know, sodomy is actually, and this is like outside of Christianity, because the liberals are going to be like, oh my God, she's talking hate speech. No, it's actually Aleister Crowley practiced sodomy. Like that's part of how it works. Hip hop, they go, wait, it's all
Yeah,
gravy.
but don't you think that has been around since Roman days, though?
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they were all homosexual as hell.
Yeah. Well, look at Bohemian Grove. No girls are allowed.
Yeah.
What are those homeboys doing up in there? You know,
a lot of. Well, Richard Nixon said there's a lot of faggy shit. That was
did he say that?
his words.
Yep.
You just said that. Don't lie.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Look it
It's
up.
true. It's true.
That's it, like, you know what?
A lot of
funny?
faggy shit. That's what his words said. That.
That is.
You know what I
gross.
want to do now? You just give me an idea. Is like things I want to say, but like then they'll like get all mad at you. Like find quotes from back in the day. Like, nah, I didn't say it. He said it
He
from
said
like
it.
the 1940s.
I heard
Fine.
somebody say it one time. He said that. He
Did
said
you
that.
know that Marilyn Monroe's
That's a good idea, Cody. I like that.
I know. You gave me an idea. Some faggy shit, but who said it?
Richard Nixon.
Richard Nixon. Okay. Good
It's
news
some
from
of the
Nixon.
faggiest shit I've ever seen. Yeah,
That's hilarious.
he said that.
Why did they used to talk like that back in the day?
I don't know.
I always trip on that. Like they had weird like accents and like intonation in the way that they spoke back in like the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Like very like he just did,
Yeah.
you know, like old school announcer type, you know, dialect. It was super strange.
Well, who was their news guy? Think about what was that? Walter Cronkite.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's who they grew up with. Was kind
Yeah.
of like that was their social engineering for that era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone had a radio voice back then
Yeah.
in their normal conversations. It was
That is
crazy.
true.
But how can you hear that as a radio voice? I did some faggy shit in there. It's not really a radio voice though, is it?
That's some
It
of
was
the
close.
faggiest
Do a
shit.
radio voice on that. Do a radio voice.
December 7th, 1945, the Empire of Japan.
I thought you were gonna say the baby shit.
Cody's a voice guy though. I'm always intrigued by
No,
that.
that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was actually my FDR impression when he announced that Japan attacked America during Pearl Harbor.
Pretty good, dude.
That is pretty good. Those that aren't watching this but are listening, that will be really nice.
The best part is when Japan was like, "We did what?"
Hey, I got a question.
But,
Who do I work for?
well, you told me, so I actually watch you guys. I try to like catch your episodes as much as I can. I fell asleep though a couple nights ago to I don't want to.
That boring.
I digress. Huh?
We're that boring.
No, I know it sounded bad. No, I put on YouTube all the time and fall asleep. Normally, I'll try to put on like spiritual stuff. I've been like listening to demonology and going to sleep. That's not good.
That sounds
I'm about
awful.
demonology now. Like I'm like I need to know who these mofo's are.
True.
I'm serious. Like I gotta knock this shit down. I'm calling them by name. Hell no.
That's fair.
No, for real. But anyways, I had you guys on by whatever. But so you had said one time, I digress. Is that you worked for Armstrong, technically speaking,
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
and that like you guys talked on Instagram or something, or you could like something.
No, that
like
was
that.
no.
Oh, that was AG. That was AG.
That was Drew Wrigley. Yep.
Yeah.
But since I'm in the North Dakota Army National Guard, we fall underneath the governor, which is Mr. Armstrong.
Yeah. I had a conversation with him.
Except now you work for Israel.
Oh shit! Dude,
You can't keep saying that because we gotta cut it out.
Don't kidnap me. I plead the fifth.
Just ignore him.
Yeah.
What, you Mossad?
No, they're making a law. They're
They're not making a law. They're merging our
They're trying
military,
to pass a bill that would merge Israel's
which 100% of
military
Republicans voted
technology
yay
with the
on
United States technology.
And so we say Cody works for Israel now
because he's a recruiter.
He's a recruiter.
Yeah.
So
But it's all jokes.
it is a joke.
Or kinda.
I mean, it's not a joke,
I mean,
but
I was
it's
like-
not.
If he kisses the wall, we'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll get a picture of it.
Never.
Well, it's funny because I talked to Armstrong. I called into the Jay Thomas show like a while ago, and I got an issue with that. That's good. I knew I had another issue with North Dakota I wanted to bring up, and I called the Jay Thomas show talking about cats. First, I talked about the Grizzly Man, which you guys got to watch that.
Hold on, pause. Do you know who Body Mootin is?
No.
Don't fuck with cats.
Oh my god, I saw that. I hate that show.
That's you.
Wait, no, are you talking about the one that was evil that was on Netflix?
Oh,
Oh,
don't
you said
fuck
Netflix?
with- don't fuck with cats.
Yeah,
That was on Netflix.
That was on
Yes.
Netflix. That was a horrible scary documentary.
It was, but the girl, the lady that found out who it was her nickname on the internet was Body Mootin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't want to watch it again, but pardon me, I was thinking about that because I was like thinking about this whole thing and how it ties
When
in.
you were talking about the whole shit, it kind of reminded me of that documentary.
Body Mootin?
Well, don't fuck with cats.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
oh, okay.
The internet sleuths that found out who that person was just by going through his social media and finding him. Like, that's you.
I know. That's funny. I kind of want to watch that again because I think about that. I was like, don't fuck with animals.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't fuck with cats.
Yeah, don't fuck with cats. I mean,
how do you feel about deer? Like people shooting deer?
Oh my god! Well, in Oregon, they're trying to make it so you can't hunt.
I think that's terrible.
I know. I agree with you.
That is a stupid idea.
Well, yeah, because then you're going to give the government more rights on what you can eat.
Well, deer multiply like cats do.
Do they really?
Yeah, they do.
They're also, I swear, we'll talk about, this is my conspiracy actually I've never talked about before. I think those deer are remotely controlled because why is it that they just creep like right at the right moment and jump out? Like they're like suicide bomb.
They are.
Something's like up with that.
Or they're just really stupid.
They're really stupid.
Well, that probably might be, but it's.
I mean, they freeze in headlights and get hit. I think their brains are kind of small.
Right in the right at the right time.
They get excited.
You know what I'm seeing?
They see like the bright and they're like, oh. And then they get curious and then they go.
No, I mean,
I'm sure alien UFOs think the same about us when we're like, whoa,
yeah,
and then
right?
just like beam, morons. Yeah.
Well, hey, we're dumbing down. You have that. I mean, we're more like that, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm totally for. So my main thing, mostly in life, is sovereignty and freedom. That's why I loved your name of your gym, like sovereignty code. I mean, and so it's like I don't expect people to be like me, right? I can't. Like we're not. That would be like we're all like homogenous people.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I want to go back to the Garden of Eden. I really wish we could go back to the Garden of Eden, sing Kumbaya, but I don't think that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a whole other agenda when it comes to this veganism thing on like these lab grown meats and. I don't touch Beyond Meat. Like, yuck. Like, I don't eat any of that crap. But so I think, like I said before, movements that are genuine a lot of times, right? Like, I think feminism, there's certain things, like I'm a strong woman, I like, but there's larger agendas that use those, right? So same with animal welfare, same with a lot of this stuff, and that being said, which is important to touch on with animal welfare and where I'm curious, actually I'd like to pick your guys' brains about it is, so sentient beings is a big term that they use in animal welfare, right? Mm-hmm. And they are. I mean, they feel like certain animals, right? Your dog, like they have, so the definition applies to a lot of animals. One thing I thought about today, though, because I was just kind of thinking, because that's all I do. But I was like, so if it's a sentient being, let's say it gets passed, right? Whatever it might be. That actually, in some ways, if they were sentient beings, instead of being property, because all animals are property right now, which gives you some right as far as like ownership, right? Mm-hmm. From the government.
Sure.
But think about it. If it's sentient beings,
yeah,
dude, you open up the door for Govey to come right in. Think about that. And not only that, so that's one angle. Another angle is that then you have AI. Yeah. So AI, you have said, because like, if you listen to words in the phonetic, so you have like transgender, transhuman, right? Like that's a trajectory.
Yeah.
Same with like sentient beings, sentient AI. Just pay attention. Like what else is sentient? Like what you use, they use those words. Just like they use the word anti a lot. Oh, you're anti-vaccine or you're anti-science or you're anti-Semitic. It's always, they use these words.
Cody.
No.
These guys.
I know. I finally got off the Jews, dude, and on to Satanism.
The new word. Well, see, this is what they want. If you haven't noticed, the new tag word is demonic.
They do say demonic.
No, I didn't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Remember, everything was racist. Now everything's demonic. That's anti. The system.
Well, dude, I'm right in line with all that.
If they tried to discredit you, they call you demonic.
Yeah, they used to say racist. Now the politically correct term.
It's huge with what turning point does to people online is they say, oh, they're demonic. That's why they're against us.
But now all governments saying it, all politicians are saying demonic this person, that anyone, because, in the narrative is Erica is this huge Christian woman who loves Jesus, and so now anything attacked against her is demonic.
Oh, that's a turning point. Didn't you have their leader on here?
Not their leader.
Not his leader.
We have a good friend that works for them.
Manager.
Yeah, he's a regional manager for the Midwest for them.
For this chapter.
That's a big deal.
For this chapter.
It is a big deal.
I'd like to meet him sometime.
Definitely. He never comes on our podcast anymore. He doesn't like it.
Cody scared him away.
I thought that was a good guy. We have to rewatch it.
No,
we got handfuls of episodes with him though. He's come on a lot.
Yeah, I think our last one we had a heated exchange, but it was all friendly.
And the time
It's like
before
heated
that.
exchange.
Pretty much the last 2 times we've had him on, it's gotten really
Yeah.
heated.
I mean, we're
really?
partying with him
Not
this
necessarily
weekend.
just
So
at him.
Well, dude, I gotta watch it again.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I like heated shit. I like some drama.
Yeah, it was fun.
we do too. We love being able. We're doing it the way that it's supposed to have been able to be done. Right? We can all disagree and argue, and then go have a beer after.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how it
Exactly.
should be done. But they're trying to make it not be that way for us, so that we don't stay intact.
Well,
They
that's
want
why
us
this is so
divided.
special.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and like I have a question. So why do you call it red tape? Like, what's your meaning behind that? Is it because
Because
like,
the topics of discussion are red tape. You know what I mean? Like
People
we're pulling the red tape
Code
back,
looking
kind of thing. Yeah.
He had initially had it already picked out, and it was just
There was something about everything podcast, and red tape talk was the name of the podcast. Something about everything is kind of our slogan.
because it is something about everything.
He what did you say? You first had it red table talk, red table talk. I think
It was always red tape talk.
no.
Yeah.
I think it was always red tape talk.
No,
Also.
Since day one.
We were like
But the
debating
table
about
was
it.
red.
Yeah.
I didn't come up with the name.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, I
Anyways.
joined
I
along.
like it though. I dig it.
I
Yeah.
do too.
I mean, as soon as I saw you guys with Nicole and stuff, and I vibed with your West Coast flavor, you know, because no offense, but North Dakota is pretty vanilla, and then you get into like the rural parts, it's beige.
Yeah.
You know?
It
Totally
is.
beige. I'm sorry.
It's brutal
You
out
know,
there.
it's brutal. It's hella brutal. Well, speaking of, because I got one more thing. Like speaking of beige and rural. So I shared this earlier, but I do want to put this on there. It's like, so demographics, and I do stand out like a Sarah's thumb. So I kind of, I just hang out with the cats and stuff, and do my own thing and create my own little safe space, but not in the typical liberal way. And so my neighbor had bought or had inherited or whatever, got granted a garage right next to me, a garage, not even a house, right? And he's like, oh. And when I bought the house, they had to do a survey and some stuff. There were some issues with the neighbors on land stuff. And, here you take 2 feet, I'll give you 2 feet. Granted, this is not $1 million properties. Okay. This is like rural North Dakota folks, but okay, you're 2 feet there for, and they were nice. They made it so I didn't have to worry about it. So, okay, cool. All good for 5 years, right? No big deal. And then the dude, about a month ago before I went back to the West Coast was like, oh, hey. This is how they are here. Everyone's like trying to be your friend, but I can tell, dude, I can sniff out passive aggressive so fucking fast because I'm so direct. Oh, did you know there's property lines? Here, they moved this, that, and just want to show you like that. And I was like, okay. And where I come from, when you talk about property lines, it's a red flag.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, when your neighbor, and he's like, I just thought you'd want to know. And I go, uh-huh. And I'm like, then I'm sit down in there and, I'm whatever. And so at the edge of my property, there's a garden, flower garden, and there's some, rocks and stuff. And he goes, what do you want to do with this rock? And I said, I don't know, it's there. What do you mean, dude? It's a rock, it's there. And he was like, well, I mean, you look at the property line, it's over it. And I look at him and I said, laughed. I just kind of brought you're joking, right? So nothing happened, or, whatever. So then I come back and, weeds grow like crazy here. And I travel and stuff. So I come back, so I'm weeding a couple nights ago. And I look and I see a piece of dirt. I'm like, that motherfucker, did he just move that fucking rock? Oh, hell no. And I'm already mad about this case. I'm done with you. I'm like, oh, hell. So I text the wife and I said, hey, did you guys move the rock? If you did, I can't believe it. That's what I said. And she's, no, we're out riding horses. No, we didn't. Okay. So the next day, I get a homeboy comes over and rings my doorbell. No. Now, granted, I don't think they know about West Coast females. I mean, for real. We just roll different. We are. I realize that so much now. Most of us. So, especially because those of us that come from single households. So I was like, because I didn't have the man to whip my ass. I'm not scared, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you don't have a man to whip your ass, you don't know your place. I don't know my fucking place, you guys. I can't believe I'm being all
Dude,
real.
feminists must hate you.
Yeah.
Feminists must hate me.
Feminist?
Oh, really? Would they hate me? Well, everybody hates me. I
No,
don't know why.
no, feminists.
Yeah, I know. Why? I'm standing up for being strong female.
Go,
Like in a weird way. Anyways,
go ahead.
we're okay. So he rings the doorbell and I'm like, okay. So I was like, I was brushing my teeth. I'll be out. So I got out. And he's standing, he's underneath the tree. And I was like, hey. And he's looks at me and he goes, I don't mind if you ask us a question about things, but I don't appreciate your tongue. And I look at him and I don't get I'm already absorbed all this, horrible stuff with what's going on in California. And, I'm already over humanity. I said, really? I said, well, you brought up this rock a few weeks ago, and I look and it's a piece of dirt now, and I just thought you might have moved it, and I just saying I didn't appreciate it. I don't know what's wrong with the tone. And he said, well, I didn't move the rock. I moved some dirt. And the dirt's like packed down. Like, I swear to God, there was something heavy on there. And I tried to look photos. I went like through 3 years ago. I know there's a motherfucking rock there. I couldn't find it, whatever. So I was like, fine. I'm not going to go back and forth. The fucking rock's there, not there, whatever. It's a principle, though. Yeah. Okay? I'm about principle. Even coming on the show is about principle. So this is the funny part. So then he's like, well, so I'm waiting because it's like you're like an attorney. I'll let you like set your shit up because he's going to front. He's fronting. Well, I'm just trying to be a good neighbor and show you where your property lines are. I'm just trying to help you. Hell no, don't front. Like, just be an dick. You know what I mean? Don't front with me like that. So he goes, well, so I'm like, you did? I was like, well, you were just being helpful. But then why'd you ask where the rock was and where the rock should go last time we talked? And he goes, well, because it got to, to go on your property line. I said, see, I got you. I go, fuck you and fuck out. Like, where I come from, we have $1 million properties. We don't care where fucking rocks go. Okay? We don't talk about rocks. We have $1 million properties. Okay? Nothing to us. And you want to talk about your hick-ass fucking property and where a rock goes? Go fuck yourself. And he looked at me like, take your fucking garage fucking hick-ass fucking property that's worth 10 cents and go fuck yourself. I don't have time for this shit. I got a case to solve. They haven't been over yet. It's been a couple days. They're kind of nice. They have a lot of kids that normally come back and forth. It's been kind of quiet over there.
That's awesome.
Kumbaya, folks. I am helping the cats, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with cats.
Don't fuck with cats, and I will trap them and take them to Wahpeton Vet.
Are you able to say what you do for work?
I don't work.
So how do you live?
Oh, are we getting all there? I have ways of, I have family, and my mom passed, and,
Is that like never ending flow?
Like, are you worried about having to work?
No, I live a very simple life. And,
Okay.
I haven't, made money on real estate.
So you're well off.
Not at all. I said I made money on, I was talking about $1 million real estate, and then I'm like, I made money on
You're well enough off.
to survive.
Check it out, though. Like, I don't drink alcohol anymore.
Okay. Yeah. You're
you know what I'm
simplistic.
saying? Like, I really, honestly, like, I don't like people, so I don't try to gravitate towards going to, like, events.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Like, that's what people do. They gravitate towards people. What does that do? It costs money when you want to go hang out with people.
Sure.
I don't like going out to dinner because I'm a vegetarian here. I hate manteca. Like, all Mexican food has manteca in it. You probably use manteca. I hate manteca. And so, not like it's all Mexican here, but, like, I'm just picky on that. Like, North Dakota is not at all vegetarian friendly. So I don't go out to eat here because, that's one thing the West Coast.
I feel like North Dakota is very vegetarian friendly.
I wouldn't say that's the case.
No, not at all. You have Crave at the
Mall.
At the mall. They're actually the only vegetarian restaurant that I've come across that has its own little menu for it. But so, I mean, if you don't do those things,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'll go hit up a meeting for I don't need people anymore. I mean, I have friends. Like, you saw my friends earlier today.
How long have you been sober?
17 years.
Nice. Wow. Congrats.
So a long ass time, yeah. 2009, so that was 17 years.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow.
How come you don't eat manteca?
Because it's pork fat.
Yeah. What's wrong with that, though?
All the stores up here.
Really?
I don't know why. Well, it's funny because I found out about manteca. I don't even know how. Like, I was in Palm Springs for my 40th birthday. I think that's how I found out. I don't even know. I just remember being at this Mexican restaurant, and I was like, I will never eat traditional Mexican food ever again because they use it in everything. Like, they love it. And so,
you don't like the taste, or you don't?
No, I don't eat meat. And, like, I can't. Like, it just grosses me out. Like, I can't. Like, I'll say fat. I'm weird. I'm neurotic too.
So when you see people eat meat, does that gross you out?
Like, the blood, like, yeah, if I so this is the intellectual. I'm glad we're bringing this up too, because it's like when I was a kid, I was about 3, I think. I had a voice come to me, straight up a voice. I'm not joking, and said, "Don't eat meat." My mom ate meat. So I didn't come from like a Seventh Day Adventist family,
Right.
So I remember asking my great grandma. We're at the beach house, and
Seventh Day Adventist, by the way, ruined the nutritional system in America.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah. They're the ones who implemented eating carbs. They're the ones who, Kellogg's was a Seventh Day Adventist.
Oh, really?
They're also the ones who convinced the world that high cholesterol was bad for us and going to kill us, and that heart disease came from things of that nature. Like, they totally flipped it up on its head, and now it's coming out that they were obviously had it all wrong. They paid for fake scientific research to convince us to eat more non-meat products. They believed that meat made people fornicate because it made them horny and all that shit. Yeah, that's where it all came from. That's why we have really bad carbs.
Well, so they must have had, because it always comes back to profits. Like you said, they own Kellogg, so they must have had a lot of businesses.
Oh, sure.
That were
It was a big profit thing. That's how they were able to pay off scientists like Ansel Keys, who was the guy that told us that heart disease and high cholesterol were really bad for us, and that it came from, heart disease came from high cholesterol, essentially. And now they found,
I agree.
They found research when he died. This guy was from Minneapolis, by the way, Ansel Keys. And his son turned over all his research papers because scientists wanted to dig into his theories and his research that he did. He did a thing called the 7 Nation Study, where he went and tried to find people living off of meat to prove that meat was bad for us and that carbs, essentially wheat and grain and all that, was really healthy for us.
Bunch of old ass people.
And it turned out that he found the opposite. So he didn't release the research, but all the scientists in the food industry and the Kellogg's and stuff wanted that research to come out to show. And he was like, it didn't really show that. And they said back then they paid him the equivalent of like $5 million today to lie about his research and say that that 7 Nation study actually discovered that it was healthy for us to eat purely carbs and grains and not eat meat. And we are now finding out that was all a lie, and that meat is actually one of the healthiest things, especially fatty meat.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. So
well, I think what was that? What's that? The keto diet, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and then there's the Mediterranean diet, and there's all different types. I mean,
by the way, Mediterraneans didn't eat that way, but
they didn't.
No, it's all made up nutritional system. Right. The Mediterranean diet is.
Well, it all goes back to profit, right? And crony capitalism is really at the root of all of it. Like, that's why I knew, they probably own.
Well, the big tobacco owns all the food industry now. So
do they really?
Go figure why we're addicted to bad food.
Oh, interesting. Well, they know how to do it, right? They already had their thing in it. Well, what are your thoughts? Just because I don't want to forget, and I really would appreciate your guys' insight. So let's just say, hypothetically, going back to this whole case in Humboldt, if this is an operation, you got some military backgrounds and psyops and what have you. What do you think that? I'm like all casual about it, like, come on, folks, let's just talk. But if this is an operation, and they're revealing their hand, they're revealing it for a reason. So do you think now they're talking about, I think it's AB631, which is a California bill that will be changing how at least these shelters and operate, right? But I didn't see anything in the current one because it didn't pass last year. So if it gets revised, I would think that they would put sentient beings in there. That's my only thing I'm thinking of. What are your thoughts if this is an operation? What would be the objective of it?
You're saying the Humboldt case specifically? Mm-hmm. This is me personally. I personally think that particular person, I think, is just doing that for money.
So it's not like a bigger thing that it's
I don't
not
think so.
Like an operation?
And I haven't really dug in probably as deep as you have. Yeah. So I can't specifically say I've seen all the shit that you have to know for sure. But I do know that people are greedy and will do horrible shit for money.
I know.
Especially politically.
And that's still tied to...
So that finds your connection to politically.
And you can still tie that to Satanism. Obviously, that's, evil people, people do evil shit. But they do evil shit to get money too.
Right.
Yeah. And I could imagine, even the police or the sheriff or whoever came out to arrest him and they knew him, obviously, then, some people don't care about animals.
Bro, nobody has more police for hire than California, too.
Yeah,
so,
oh, really?
Oh, God, yeah. I could tell you stories for days about cops that are on payrolls.
On the take?
Oh, for sure.
Well, he's
one of the biggest known stories in our country, I think, in history recently is the Tupac murder case. The entire LAPD got unraveled because they discovered that everyone in LAPD was under the payroll of some of the biggest gangs in LA, including Death Row Records. So, there you go. You know what I mean? And they say that the LAPD is probably one of the biggest gangs in America. And they, in fact, have gang members on the department.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, police are for hire in California without a doubt. So that Yeah, I get it though. Like, you know, I'm always trying to make connections now too. But I think Cody's right. In some case scenarios, it's just money, and our politicians are out for money. And if you can find the money in a way where it's expendable, you can give it to the right people and do whatever the hell you want with it.
Yep.
Satanism connections and all that stuff. I think California is riddled with it as well. The music industry, all of that. I'd be more curious about the connections that you made with. You've been pretty vocal about what they're doing over there, and all of a sudden there's like hints being dropped towards
me,
your name, Annie, and little things like those were more connections to me than anything when you shared that with me.
Whoa, that's interesting. So I don't know if you guys, that's good you brought that up. Is and I don't want to live in fear,
right?
But so check this out. So they had the 8 dogs that were found, right?
Yep.
And all of a sudden, so you have these like subgroups that are ran by locals, save the dogs or find the dogs, because there's 700 missing dogs. Well,
that's insane.
It's insane. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just like a year, right? 700.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I just happened to glance at one of these groups, and it was pinned on top of it too. I didn't think I told you that. It was pinned, and it said, "Rest in peace, Annie. Dog found." It was the first dog out of the 8. I'm like, what are the odds that there's a dog named Annie that's dead, or whatever. And I got paranoid a little bit. And then another weird thing, because there's also the spiritual realm and synchronicities that happen in the spiritual realm that I have to take into consideration as well. And this wild magic carpet ride that we're on. So there's this couple family or whatever in that area in Humboldt that's, millionaires, billionaires, whatever. They have some money. And I also find it interesting that they had the play Little Orphan Annie playing last weekend at the Performing Arts Center. Whatever. I don't think that whole thing they orchestrated, obviously, unless they can do time travel and know some crazy cat lady is going to hop on and start stirring shit up, But it's just interesting, right? The small little town that they have Little Orphan Annie playing. Mm-hmm. But to acknowledge what you were saying about the dog Annie, it didn't sit right with me. And I actually messaged. So Jenna Moore is one of the girls that had gone into the hole to dig the dogs out. And so I'm friends with her and, on social media. And I just said to her, I don't really go with the direction she is, because she's like, trust the sheriff. Yeah, okay, whatever. But I don't trust shit. But I said to her, what's up with this? The name seems kind of uncanny. And I look at numbers too, and 67, 30, whatever. I can get into numbers you can geek
gematria,
out, right? So it was 67 and 13 on there. And then another thing that tripped me out was a screenshot. It looks from maybe Instagram or something like that. And I was like, So the girl that ran that, not Jenna, but this other chick, I actually asked her. I said, "Can I talk to the owners? I just find that name uncanny." And I'm pretty direct. I didn't go into oh my God, you guys gonna, And so I said, she's like, "Oh no, they want to stay private." But I'm thinking to myself logically, well, if they want to stay private, this is a screenshot of this dog, right? Mm-hmm. But it's a screenshot of looks like another social media. Maybe it's not, maybe it's just Facebook, but it looked more of an Instagram. And then I'm also thinking too, why is it a screenshot of that, right? Why is it a screenshot of Instagram or whatever and not the direct post or something like that? Yeah. And then she goes, well, they want to stay private. But I'm like, they're staying private, but yet they're posting on social media? I mean, maybe it's with their own circle of friends.
Sure.
That could be it. I also have had a lot of synchronicities in my life. Once you start to wake up, you can see synchronicities. So what are your thoughts on that, John? Because I know you brought that up.
I agree. I think for me personally, I found that the deeper down the rabbit hole I went and the more synchronicities and stuff like that I found were tied a lot more to my paranoia and my anxiety. I found that a lot for myself personally. If you want to see it, you will.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And because I was so deep into it, I was seeing it in fucking everything. And people close to me were literally dude, you're kind of sounding a little crazy. At one point I was told that I was maybe manic, you know what I mean? And the more that I backed off, the more that kind of thought process started to die in me. And now I'm riding the fucking biggest wave possible of ignorance is bliss, because I'm so burnt out by trying to explain my thought process to people to get them to understand, or people thinking I'm crazy when I'm trying to point out what's in plain sight. How do you not see the connections here? And they're just dude, what the fuck? So I kind of got over it because I could sense friends and family members distancing themselves from me.
Oh yeah,
big time. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, it's not worth it to me because what the fuck am I going to do about it? There's nothing I could do about it, even if it is true. So like, and they say that knowing is half the battle. I think we had this talk the other day, and that's just not the case anymore.
Yeah.
Like no one gives a shit what you know anymore, and knowing doesn't go anywhere for you. Politicians, government, police, nobody's doing anything about it. Half of them are in on it, and it's just like, I'd rather just not know.
Well, and this is something you said. I think you said, like when I said I was listening to your podcast and fell asleep, but it was really profound. And I want to like sit with that longer. You said there's more depth to see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Wasn't that true?
Yeah.
And it really hit me because it's like, when you look upon evil, like real evil, not just
it's your RAS, right? Your reticular activating system. Once you see something and you identify with it, you'll see it everywhere. It's like when you get a new car. And now you see everyone in the world drives that same fucking car because you can see it. It's your reticular activating system going, oh, look, that's something that I'm accustomed to now. Someone in my family bought that car. Now I see that fucking car everywhere, but I don't remember ever seeing that car before that. Same thing with what we do as conspiracy theorists. Once we see something and we identify with it, we will see it everywhere now.
It's pattern recognition.
Yes,
right.
That's what RAS is.
When you're constantly looking at something and that's all you are digesting, it's everywhere. You're going to see it everywhere.
Our algorithm on social media is a perfect example of that.
You're right.
If you talk about it out loud.
But and again, I think there's a very, you can call it, synergistic connection between the way they've created algorithms. If we're all energy and everything online is made up of energy as well through, networks and whatnot, the algorithm is a perfect example of us making what we want to see be. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't take long on social media. You can change your algorithm daily. It used to be once your algorithm's set, that's all you're going to see forever. And now I've noticed lately, like I could be watching a funny video or I could watch like a cop video. Next thing you know, my entire algorithm is showing that exact thing.
100%.
That's a trip.
Within moments, though, not just like over time. It's within moments.
Quicker.
And I could switch gears and I could be like, oh, look, I like watching these, singing videos of people on American Idol. And all of a sudden, that's all I see in my news feed is American Idol and fucking Voice and all, and I'm just like, okay, my algorithm is a lot more in tune than it ever has been.
Sillops. I learned that word, solipsism.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like that cycle of that. But did you, when you brought up the whole Annie thing, did you think that was more of a paranoia part? Or do you think that could have been like, this bitch is like kind of like.
No, it intrigued me for sure, especially because you almost had two of them there, with the play and then the dog thing. So but to the point of what I said earlier is I think there was more to that probably than anything. But maybe it's a little bit more paranoia.
Can I explain?
If there was more connections, if there was more like you dug a little bit deeper, I think if there was something more profound there and not just like, oh, they're just trying to remain private and you kind of even brush it off like, yeah, they could be right. It could just be a screenshot of, whatever. I think that you're accurate in that. But sometimes our thought process and our fear brain wants to like hold on and be like, no, there's something going on here. Yeah. But that comes with our anxiety and our paranoia.
Well, and it's also that dark underworld that you brush up against and energetically, like, so, because like going back to when you said hear no evil, speak no evil, see no, or whatever, it's like there's so much. I think that's so profound. Like we have that saying, but like, so I got visions of what happened to these animals on the black market, and it was horrific. And then just whatever I did, and so I realized how important not seeing evil, right? Like I don't watch pornography. I had before, girls did, whatever. I had a friend that's a cam model still, where I come, I come from the city that's like the highest sex, sex positive, but like, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm seeing how much everything, and it's funny because it's like who runs pornography is actually out of Montreal. It's called Ethical Capital Partners. It's just finding more mockery because it's ethical. And they run like 90% of the porn industry. But that being said, like, and like you get a threshold, not just with porn, but anything, like with violence, and you build up a thing and then it gets deeper, people don't end up being like some twisted bestiality person. They start off watching just like whatever, right? And then it just like builds up because it's our brains. So that being said, when you said like see no evil, you said it really well. And I want to like go back and watch that because I loved how you said it. Like, it's like you see the importance of how
I totally get the concept of hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil is kind of how I framed that because I do. we'll bring it to an end on this note here. What you're saying, like the example we talked about off air earlier when we first got started here, we mentioned about how my gym's haunted. Okay, a lady came to me. I was running ads for personal training at the time, and this old lady signed up to come in to have a meeting with me to discuss personal training options. And at first I thought it was kind of strange because she was an older lady. I was like, well, that's weird. Like, why would she? But okay, whatever, you know. She comes in to see me for our meeting, and this was like a couple weeks later, and she brings me a book. And this book talked about gifts that we have as children with the ability to speak to the other side, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And she says, I'm not really here for personal training. She says, I was told to come see you. She's like, I have an ability. My mom had this ability. And I'm told that you have this ability. And I'm told to give you this book and that you're to read this book to understand your true potential. And she said, also, there is something here. There was someone here who's disrupting things and whatnot. And now keep in mind, nothing had ever happened in the gym up until she told me this. And then it was like, boom, boom, we started seeing weird things happening. So it was like my pattern recognition was set by her coming in and doing this. Now, I still can't explain why she did this and what brought her to do it and her telling me these things, but she did. And I immediately, and she told me, if you know anybody or if you want me and my friends to come, we can smudge your gym and do all this. And I said, no, I actually know some like true native, you know, Americans that do, her mom does this. I'm going to talk to them and see, you know, if they'll come and do it. But we started having things happen in the gym almost immediately after she told me this. And they're not normal things. They're like, you know, it's twice it happened. Someone swept all the supplements off the shelf in the middle of the night one time when no one was there. And then during the day when we weren't open quite yet, like on a Sunday, same shelf, same supplements, it was all the pre-workouts. The guy that at my gym was one of my personal trainers. And so the whole pre-workout, you know, just supplements in general kind of thing was weird. And then nothing had happened for a while. Now these happened like apart. One of them happened first. This is why we got the sage done. It happened one time first. We had the sage done. We did the whole gym. And then like a month later, it happened again. Same shelf, right? So I was like, oh, it didn't work. Well, now maybe 1 or 2 months ago recently, another strange thing happened. We have a gate in my gym. So we close off our pro shop and the rest of the gym's 24-hour access, right? So we close this gate, we put a chain around it, and we put a deadbolt lock. And the manager, Laura, she put this lock on. And the reason why we checked the cameras is because my wife came in the morning, was like, you guys forgot to lock the gate last night. And Laura was like, no, absolutely. I locked it. I remember physically locking it, and it was locked. She's like, I know for a fact. So we're just like, well, it clearly wasn't, because the lock wasn't broken. It was still working. We just had to close it and it locked. So she's like, no, she was adamant. So she's like, I'm checking the cameras. I don't know what, someone must have come in, you know, a couple people have a key to get in there that I've entrusted. And so we thought maybe someone came behind her and went in there and forgot to lock it themselves. And we watched on camera from the moment she locked it, nobody for 10 minutes touches it. But 10 minutes later, the lock goes opened and the chain falls open. And that was the last experience we've had there.
Well, I have a question for you. So
Yeah.
the man that with like that shelf that kept getting disturbed, and then also with that area with the lock, was he like was that kind of like, did he sell a lot of supplements or
Not necessarily. He used a lot of supplements, and I think that was part of his malfunction. He was heavily an alcoholic, which is where, so like the night he jumped in front of the train behind my gym, we got into a big argument, and he just was damning me to all hell. He was drunk at the bar at the time. And the argument was literally about him coming in drunk, trying to train people all the time. And I just said, dude, like, we got to fix this, you know. And I took some clients away from him and hired someone else to coach them because they were my sponsored athletes. And so he was real pissed when he found out. And he's just like, you're a snake businessman. This is why I hate businessmen. I'm like, dude, I was doing you a favor. Like, you were ruining these people's prep for their bodybuilding show. And, you know, so we made this decision as a team, you know, and they were my sponsored athletes. And he's like, I hate people like you, and you're a snake, you're scum. And I was like, you're drunk, you're at the bar right now. We'll talk in the morning and figure this out. And like literally just hung up on him. And he was like, on the way hanging up, he was like, fuck you, I don't want nothing to do with you. This was at like 11 o'clock midnight. And he told me he was at the bar. And so 4:00 in the morning that same night, I get a call from the police to tell me to come to my gym, that there has been a problem. So I fly over to my gym, and his car is out back where he always parked. And they asked me if I knew that vehicle. I'm like, great. What did he fucking do? Because they were searching it. Mm-hmm. And then they just said, there's no easy way to say this. So we're just going to tell you, we believe that he went back behind the gym here in this field. And I was like, holy hell. And, you know, it was a really messed up moment for all of us that knew him at the time. He was a very well-known bodybuilder in the upper Midwest. But nothing ever happened until this lady came in many years later and told me that she was sent. How many years?
What's the time span?
When did he?
That was in 2017.
17, and this lady came 2024.
I would say 4, yeah.
And there was no connection. Was she kind of like a witchy looking lady?
She was an older lady. She wasn't witchy at all. She just said that she had this psychic ability, and that she was told I did too, and that she had to come see me and bring me this book. I don't even know what I did with the book. I think I threw it out. I think I threw it out. I was weirded out, you know, but it was a small, thin book. And it had a picture of a little girl on the front of it, and it said something about tapping into your potential gifts as a child, or I don't know, it was something weird. I can't remember at all, because I was super just kind of like, what, that's strange.
Yeah, right.
And I kind of just, you know, I joked about it, and I was like, oh, this lady. Yeah. And she was like, well, if I ever decide to really do personal training, I will come back and see you though. But I was sent here to give you this message, and that's my job is done. But she's like, just know that if you don't do something to smudge the gym or whatever, to clear the gym, she kept saying clear it, that's what it was, that he'll start to disrupt things a lot worse. She says, as of right now, you've been having like water problems and turmoil amongst the people within your gym and whatnot, but it's going to get worse.
And that was true?
And it was true, yeah.
And did she know that without you telling her that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. In fact, so like, you're me, I'm her, and she's saying, I'm getting a feeling that there's something over here. And where she was waving her hand was towards the back of the gym. Mm-hmm. And she's like, it's something over here. I don't know what it is, but it's over here. And I'm like, you mean in the gym? She's like, just this side, like maybe what's behind the gym? And I said, there's a field. And she's like, no, that's not it. She's like, is there anything beyond that? I'm like, more field? I said, oh, there is a railroad track. She goes, that's it. And then I got chills right now. I said, I know exactly who you're talking about. I was totally convinced she was dead on. And I instantly said, I know exactly who you're talking about. She's like, really? And I said, yep. And then I told her the story of the trainer, and she's like, yeah, it's him.
And then you didn't have any disturbances like that noticeable, except for like the water stuff and the people interacting and stuff. But then it got more so with like the vitamins and all that after she left and all that.
And I don't know exactly how soon after this was, but I want to say it was probably within the same year at the very least.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, but then so I think that's too much.
But did I manifest that?
But
you know what I mean?
How did you manifest a lock undoing itself?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, for real.
Yeah, that's hard to say.
I mean, and I get it. Like, so I have the way that I investigate, and I think this is something, is that I will go in the abstract, hands down, and that's where you can get paranoid. But I also am very logical and pragmatic, right? I'll look at the money and I'll look at, you know what I mean? So I have a pragmatic side. So I don't want to just be like, oh my gosh, like,
right.
Curse. But I do think, to give respect in that sense. Like,
can I give you an example?
Yeah.
So someone really close to me got really heavily involved in Q and followed Twitter really heavily, Reddit, all those pages, right?
Right.
Got really deep into it. Mm-hmm. So much so, like he got stuck on something called gang stalking.
I've heard of something like that.
Yeah. So that's a real thing. Like gang stalking is actually legit.
He's real?
It's a real thing. Okay. Yeah. But it was meant for people that were of substance, like somebody that was important, you know, that the government would harass and whatnot. Mm-hmm. This person thought that was happening to him. Mm-hmm. Basically, he lived in, like, at this time, kind of a dumpy area. But he got a flat tire, and he thought that it was these people that were popping his tires because he got a flat tire, and then a few days later, he got another flat tire. So he was convinced that somebody was out to get him. Well, he lived in a shitty neighborhood. There was probably nails and glass that were popping his tire, but he was convinced that everybody was out to get him. like they were watching him.
Just for knowing.
There was cameras in the traffic cones and shit like that. And so much.
You can geek out, man.
And I get it. But when you look for something, you're going to find it.
I agree with you.
And so like it got to the point where I could no longer communicate with this person because I was so fucking annoyed. I was like, shut the fuck up. Like I was
surprised
over
you didn't think you were somebody.
Probably did. I don't know. He probably did just because of at the time of what my thought process was. But eventually I think there was a switch that flipped, and it was just like, oh, I went a little bit too far into the water with that. And he realized that was just not a healthy way of thinking. And so
well, I'll be honest with you, okay? Because I love honesty. I think it's really healing. So like I'm like that. Because like there was like this car going by my house today, and it was like a Cadillac, and it was like had
that was the cartel.
Plate. It was an old couple, like they're like in their 80s, and I'm like, dude, how can I even like trip on that, dude? Like they're in their 80s, and yeah, they're creeping at 5 miles, but old people creep.
That's
what they do. They could have fucking.
But then, you know, my brain thought, I'm not gonna lie. What if it's the head of the Satanic Coven? He's so old.
That's what I mean. We will tell ourselves what we want to hear, and nobody can convince us better than our own selves of what we want to believe in. You know what I mean? That's one of the biggest mind fucks, I think, of the human race, is that we have the ability to believe anything that we want to believe. And don't get me wrong, I'm a total conspiracy theorist, but I've had to learn to have limits too, because I don't want people to think I'm crazy, because then my credibility is out the window, and then the things that I can prove as a conspiracy theorist are really going down will never have credibility behind our merit. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's huge to find that balance, I think. And then for me too, like I like to have fun with it a lot. I don't want to be taken so serious, because sometimes we talk about conspiracy theories that are just absolutely ridiculous, and it's all in fun. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say what's real and what's fake anymore. And I think they're intentionally blurring the lines. Absolutely. So that we look crazy, and so that things look ridiculous and absurd and all that stuff. So yeah.
Well, that's why I like to out myself. That's why I said today, you know, because I know when I start to get tripping, you know.
For sure.
I also know it's par for the course too.
Bingo.
You know? But I also know I'm not grandiose. Like I'm not anybody with worldly power. Maybe spiritual power.
Sure. I think we all have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
You know, and this is a spiritual battle.
100%. If there's one thing I'll say for certain, we are experiencing spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
It's beyond politics. It's beyond anything. It's pure evil and or good versus evil, spiritual warfare. I buy that more than anything. I think there's more proof and evidence that that's what we're experiencing and what we're having going on right now. And I don't know how we're going to fix it or how we're going to save ourselves. I just know that we have to give it up to the big man and let it be in his hands. And then we got to find our sanity down here, especially those of us who are leaders in our communities and who have families that we have to raise and protect. So, yeah.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for coming on and sharing your stuff with us. Everything we do is intriguing. Yeah, don't fuck with cats for sure. Any last minute, anything you guys want to add to this? Good to go.
Having you on.
I will end with this. I do not work for the cartel.
I thought it was he worked for the cartel.
I don't work for any like CIA or 3-letter agency. I just work for the North Dakota Army National Guard. So.
Aww. Want to squish your cheeks and go nee.
There you go. There you go.
Look at you.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, we'll end on that. Everybody else, we appreciate you guys for checking us out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the channel, tell your friends about us. Don't tell your friends about us. Talk good, talk bad. It doesn't really matter as long as you were talking about us. Peace.